The views and opinions expressed in this show do not represent those of Cal State Fullerton, the College of Health and Human Development, or the Kinesiology program.
Ready, aim, fire.
Welcome to Kinesiology 101, the podcast for kinesiology majors by kinesiology majors. Every week we bring you a new and exciting guest with tons of knowledge and experience both in and outside of the classroom here at Cal State Fullerton. Yeah, get this thing rolling.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Kinesiology 101. I'm your host, Jose. My guest today is Robert Salatto. Robert, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much for having me, man. It's a big honor for you to ask me to do this. I'm looking forward to doing it. Anything I can say about Kines, anything I can do, it's going to be a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you for being on it, man.
Of course.
So Robert and I, we had a class together back in when he was an undergrad. He's a graduate student now, and he's also an instructor here at the Kinesiology program, right?
Yeah. I teach Kines, it's the anatomy lab, so 191A lab. Goes along with anatomy 191A. Dr. Barr teaches it. So it's a lot of fun to instruct here. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So I've known you for a while. I see you down the hall. I talk to you from time to time. But
absolutely.
Go ahead and give us a little bit about yourself, a little background about yourself, where you're from, sports you might have done.
For sure. I grew up in La Mirada, not too far from the school here. Played football in high school. Got my first 4 years of education at Fullerton Junior College. Then I transferred to the University of Redlands to finish playing football. Was a history major for the first 4 years. When I had transferred originally to the University of Redlands, it was going to be my senior year. Finished playing football. Ended up got a job coaching football at Fullerton College, so I had stopped going to school at that time. Short before I got my job, I had enrolled my first semester at Cal State Fullerton would have been, I think it was the spring semester of 2004. And I had taken an intro to Kines class and some history classes, and I really liked the Kines class, but I ended up dropping out, just so I could work full-time and coach. And that led me to a coach for like 3 years, and about halfway through coaching, I decided to come back to Cal State Fullerton. And that's really when I decided to switch from history major to kinesiology. So I took 2 classes back-to-back semesters just because I was really busy, so I only took one class. I took 210, which is anatomy and physiology with Dr. Barr, and then I took stats with Dr. Barr. Then I spent a couple years outside of school again. I had moved away from California with my family, and then I moved back to California. Came back in 2011 to school, fully committed to kinesiology, finished my undergraduate. At the end of my undergraduate, I was applying to different graduate programs across the country, and I had applied to Michigan State, and I had applied to Cal State Fullerton. And those are the 2 schools that I wanted to go to, and I figured one or the other. I didn't have an A or a B school. It was those 2 or it was nothing. So I had applied to Michigan State, and when their committee met, to select their graduate students, there had been some sort of mix-up. So they did not have my transcripts or my GRE scores or anything from me. They essentially had an application, and that was it. And they gave me the thanks but no thanks letter. And as soon as that happened, everything started to happen for me. I got accepted to Cal State Fullerton. I got into the graduate program here. I was offered a job by Dr. Barr to teach for her, and that was it, man. It's been really amazing. It's been a really amazing ride to get to this point in my life. So yeah, I stumbled into this place. I mean, Cal State Fullerton was in my backyard, and I had no idea in 2004 when I attempted to take a kinesiology class before I was even a committed kines major, just where I was at. And when I came back here in 2011, I was such a different person and older, more mature, and I could really look at the program for what it was. And this place is full of amazing people. It's one of the best programs in the country, easily. And it was in my backyard. I stumbled into it. And now here I am getting my master's degree from there. So it's crazy. It really has been such a great experience getting to this point at this school. I couldn't say enough about it. So
Yeah, it sounds like you've had a roller coaster, right?
it's been crazy.
So back in 2011, that's probably when I first had you in that class. That
Exactly
was
right.
movement anatomy, I believe.
Exactly. It was 260 at the time.
260 at the time, right? With
Dr. No Fall.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here I am, probably sitting next to you in class, thinking, this guy, what's he doing here?
Yeah, right.
But I mean, like you just said, you had a long history.
It is, man. It was a long time. It really took a long time to get to this point. It was a struggle too. When I had moved back to California in 2008, was late 2007, early 2008. The plan was to go back to school the whole time, and my brother and I, we had moved back out here, and he wasn't a well man. And as soon as I came back out, within a couple of months, he had gotten really sick. So he had been diagnosed with a disease when he was a senior in high school. So he fought that for about 12 years. The last 3.5 years of his life, we moved out here together, and it was just him and I. So I took care of him until he had passed away, and it took about 3.5 years. So he died in January of 2011, and then I started school in August of 2011. So yeah, after he had passed away, my life completely changed, like 100%. And I was kind of directionless after he passed away, and the only thing I really had going for me was I knew that I was going to be starting school again, and I knew that was going to take me in the right direction. And by the end of my second semester, I kind of had reestablished my own life, and I had come a long way from just from the tragedies that I had undergone with my dad. My dad passed away shortly after my brother, so it was a big life-changing moment. 2011 was a rough year for me, but by the end of my second semester, I kind of had my feet under me a little bit. And then by the end of my third semester here at Cal State Fullerton, I pretty much had heard the calling. I figured that, it was going to take a long time. And then within 3 semesters of coming back to school, I kind of knew this was the right choice for me. Everything kind of good just kind of stacked up for me. And I had some direction in my life, and I had a lot of success as an undergraduate student, grades-wise, and a lot of learning and being able to apply those things just in my daily life and stuff. So yeah, it's really taken me in the right direction personally. And then just through my education and the experience I got from my classes and my professors, and then meeting the different students and things that have become my friends in the program, it's really put me on a good path to being able to knowing where I'm going to in the future and what kinesiology, what I'm going to do for the program, what I'm going to do for the subject, and then what I'm going to be able to use my kinesiology to help people in the future. I don't think had I been in a different place at a different time, in a different mindset, I probably wouldn't be able to know that. But yeah, Cal State Fullerton has been great for me.
Yeah.
So and then getting into the grad program was amazing. It really was. It was just, there are a lot of people that apply to graduate programs that don't get in. And when you get accepted to one, it's a big deal. And I've talked to people that applied to different programs and didn't get in and then finally got into theirs. And, it's a big vote of confidence in that university or that program that says, hey, man, you're good enough. You're good enough to come and be one of the elite. We don't have a Ph.D. program at Cal State Fullerton here. So to be a graduate student in your master's program in kinesiology at Cal State Fullerton, it's the best of the best. And if you know the other students that are in the master's program, like some of my buddies and the people that were here semesters before me, these people are amazing. So for Cal State Fullerton to be hey, Rob, you're good enough to come and learn on that next level, it's a humbling experience. It really is. I work really hard to get there, but at the same time, I can't get myself in. So when they're saying, yeah, you're good enough, it really means a lot to me to be here. It's a great thing. So.
No, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
It seems like everything's fitting back together, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
It has been. The last 5-6 years of my life have been a really crazy journey, but I'm very, very happy that I'm in the position that I'm in. Things are lining up. I work very hard, and I kind of know where I want to go. And the harder I work, the more success I see, and the more grace I'm shown. Just you get a lot of favor, I stumbled onto someone offered me a job to teach at Cal State Fullerton.
Nice.
Now I went from being an undergraduate student to a graduate student and an undergraduate instructor. So hopefully in a year, half, or maybe 2 years when I'm applying to Ph.D. programs, I'll already have 2 years of undergraduate teaching under my belt. Hopefully that will look good on a resume or when I go to apply to these programs. So it's a blessing. It really is. It's a humbling thing to be put in charge of people's education and knowing that that can further my education and that can help me get to my ultimate goal in life, it's such a blessing. I can't say enough about it. I'm so fortunate.
Yeah, I feel like taking a class from you now.
You should. You learn a lot.
Just by listening to you. Yeah, definitely.
I try hard. Teaching has been a great thing. It's really cool. I was approached by another friend of mine who teaches, and he asked me what my graduate plans were, and I told him, I was having trouble with Michigan State and that, what had happened to him, and he asked if I applied anywhere else. When he found out that I was applying here, he asked if I would be interested in teaching. And I was like, yeah, of course. That's kind of what I want to do. I mean, Ph.D. programs and teaching at the university level is where I want to go. So I jumped at the opportunity, and Dr. Barr, she contacted me. Jose gave her my information, and she contacted me, and it's a funny story. I didn't know I was on a job interview, and I just went in and I figured I was going to find out about the program and what she had to offer, maybe get an application to fill out. And her and I just BS'd for like an hour, and I'm talking to her like I talk to anybody else. And at the end, she's like, well, welcome to the team and this and that. And I was like, oh man, I was on a job interview. I had no idea. Yeah. I mean, I would have essentially been the same person, but I would have dressed nicer. I wouldn't have came right after class. I would have had a tie on or something. Been professional, but I had no idea.
You had a Metallica shirt on or something?
Exactly right. I think I probably did, right? Something to that effect.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. And I have taught or coached many times, and it's not that when I lived in North Dakota, when I lived out of state, I worked at a Job Corps program, and it's like a boarding school, second chance school, things like that. They do a lot of trades and things, and I did recreation classes. I worked in the rec department up there, and I taught exercise, and so it's not like I haven't been teaching, but yeah, when I started the fall of 2014, that was my first semester teaching in a classroom type setting like this, whether it's not being a coach or anything. I had no problems. Honestly, it was, I just kind of picked it right up. But when I was a football coach, when you're a coach, you were a sport teacher. There's really no difference. And it just kind of like I was standing in front of, instead of standing in front of a football team, teaching them like drills or something, or teaching them in the weight room, it was just like I was standing in front of an anatomy team, teaching them anatomy on the anatomy field. Like I just picked it straight up. And it's important to me. And it really is. And I told my classes and things like that, like I'm not here to BS you. Like I'm not here, I might be a graduate student, but I'm an instructor. I'm here to teach. It's my pleasure. Like not only are they paying me to teach you, but it's my pleasure to come and facilitate your learning. Ultimately, if I aspire to be a Ph.D. and to work at a university and be an instructor or a professor, like you're responsible for people's education. It's not just, I'm going to go and collect my paycheck. You have to help people learn. The majority of my students, the 191A lab that I teach, we run that lab. Okay, I might butcher this, so don't quote me on this, but I believe the way it breaks down is the kinesiology department runs the lab for the nursing department. So we offer this lab for nursing students that are going to declare as nursing majors, or their major will be nursing. So they have to know anatomy. They can't come out of my lab having like crap instruction. Like they better learn something, because these people are going to be healthcare providers one day. So that's my responsibility, is to help them learn as much as possible, to do whatever I can in the most professional and efficient way, so that when they leave my lab, they know what they're doing. So yeah, I mean, it's a big honor. It really is. Like I don't take it lightly one bit. It's a serious business to me, and I do not want to be a C+ teacher. I'm going to be the A+ teacher. I'm going to do whatever I can as best as I can to help my students learn.
Okay, well, let's see what Rate My Professor has to say about that right now.
I don't know. I haven't been there.
You haven't been there? Are you up there?
I don't know. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
I really have no idea. I would wonder. I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about when you got back to Cal State Fullerton back in 2011, and you got your undergrad. You're still finishing that up.
Absolutely.
You're just more motivated, perhaps, or maybe more inclined to pursue something with a degree.
Yeah. When I started back, my first 4 years in school, I will straight admit that I went to college to play football. I did not go to learn. I did not go to care about any particular subject. I wanted to play football. And I was young, and I don't know, I just didn't, that's where my mind was. And starting again I technically entered school as a junior, but since I was switching majors, I had a lot of work to do. So starting back as a 28-year-old junior, or super junior, if you want to call me that, my mind was a lot more focused. I mean, I needed to be in school. It was a great thing for me to be in school, but I was also a little bit more mature, like mentally, physically, emotionally. I had my mind and my head on straight. And I hit the ground running with my education. Like, it was super important to me that I didn't just go to class and pass, but I wanted to learn. And I wanted to learn in the sense that I could manipulate the material, that I could like use the material, not just parrot it back out, but actually take it and internalize it and be able to do something with it. So yeah, I mean, it was a good, in my life, it was a big advantage to start kinesiology at the level I did, needing 2 full years of kinesiology, or 2.5 years of kinesiology as a 28-year-old, because that gave me a lot of insight into, like, I know who I was and I knew what I was capable of. So there was never that question in the classroom like I had when I was like 18, 19, 20-year-old in college. I was just unsure of myself. So I was very sure of what I was capable of, and I knew it wasn't just okay, it was excellence. And that's what I did as an undergraduate. I was an excellent undergraduate. But that first semester was fall of 2011, I believe it was. I don't think I could have made it through without Dr. Wiersma and Dr. Nofal, because I was just coming off of a lot of tragedy in my life. Like, my dad and brother just passed away. It was the end of a very long, hard struggle, and I had a completely different life. And after that era ended, like, that particular part of my life ended. So they were very understanding. I had cause to talk with them just to kind of, tell them like who I was and why I was back in. And it's a funny story. Dr. Nofal had seen, in order to take movement anatomy, you had to pass anatomy or physiology, or anatomy and physiology. So when we had to show him our grade checks, he saw that I got an A in anatomy and physiology. And he's like, "Oh, good. I like to call on the people that got A's to, answer questions."
Yeah, I remember.
I was like, "Dude, you can't call on me."
Right.
So I went to his office and I explained to him, like, I was like freaking out a little bit. Like, I was not in a position to answer questions in front of the class. Like,
right, and it's a big
first
class.
semester back, yeah.
That was a big class, yeah.
I wasn't there yet. And I explained to him, and, he understood. And it wasn't that they favored me or anything like that, but they knew that if I was having a bad day and I didn't want to answer questions, like, I wasn't going to be difficult. I just needed to sit there and learn and pass tests and get my feet under me. So I knew that I could be successful in school. And they were great. And Dr. Nofal's class, I don't know if anybody's had Dr. Nofal, but that guy does not he requires excellence. He requires you to be as good as you can be. He doesn't really you can't be, you can't expect to go into his class and not work hard. You have to work really hard for him. He expects you to work hard. And that standard that he would hold his class up to, like, it really forced me to work. And after I passed that class, like, that was one of the hardest classes. I figured it was a 200 level when I took it, 260,
right, yeah.
when we took it back in the day. And I think now it's 360. But that class was no joke. Like, it was just a lot of material. Like, it wasn't necessarily the most difficult subject that I've taken at Cal State Fullerton, but the volume of material that we were responsible for, like, you had to put that work in or you weren't going to pass. So that semester went by, and, I seen really good success. I had, like, a straight A semester, and, I felt really good about it, and it really gave me that courage to continue. So, but yeah, him and Dr. Nofal and Dr. Wiersma, just over the course of the semester of, like, them being patient with me and being willing to help and understand, like, where I was at and why I needed to be in school and where I was going, it really helped me become comfortable in school. And then the very next semester I had, I remember this is one of the most influential classes in my every school I've ever been to. I had Dr. Beam for exercise physiology.
Oh, isn't he cool?
Oh my God, I love that guy. And Beam was really cool, and he was another one that his class was, I don't think I had a more difficult class, maybe as difficult, but his class was hard and he required a lot of learning. You had to know a lot of material, and it was considerably harder than the anatomy, just based on, you do bioenergetics and, things like that, cardiorespiratory and exphys. So that's complicated stuff when you start to learn it. And that class right there that's where I fell in love with exercise physiology. Like, being a strength and condition, being a former college athlete, being a former, like, strength coach and things like that, or doing strength coaching, let me say it that way, and just being in a kines program, strength and conditioning is something that I always love and stuff, but exphys is really what I fell in love with. I love the idea of not just knowing what exercises work, but why they work from the inside out. And knowing that makes you a better strength coach. So that's kind of where my love of X-Phys, and that's right then where I kind of made the decision that that's the direction I wanted to go in. But also just moving on in my education, I was able to take, I took motor learning, I think it was motor learning with Dr. Barros, so you get that exposure. And then I was able to take sports medicine with Dr. Kersey. And I took care and prevention of athletic injuries, which I believe is a different name now, but it was Kines 365 with Julie Max. And just listening to these professionals and their different aspects of kinesiology, where they're at, it gave me a really good, because I didn't take one track or another. I did a special study track as an undergrad, and Dr. Nofal was my sponsor for that. So I got exposed to a bunch of different, I took a sports psych class with Dr. Statler, and I took, like I said, sports med. So I had a bunch of different background. And I think that really has set me up. The different perspectives that I had as far just for my undergraduate education, I'm really happy with where I went. And then I was able to take a couple more like phys classes, like I took with Danica France.
We had that class.
Exactly right.
354.
Yeah, exactly right. That class was great. Just learning about how to like screen victims. I almost said victims. Screen subjects or clients or something. To build exercise programs, especially cardiovascular, and then you work down in the X-Phys labs doing the different testing and things like that. I don't know, it really fits me, and that's why in my graduate work, definitely I'm taking like applied like Kinesiology 555 with Dr. Brown, so I'm taking applied strength this semester, but a lot of the applied strength is the physiology, like the original like the A.V. Hill and Delorme Watkins, things like that, like the people that put together the foundations of what we study. You learn like the why behind the strength and conditioning. So yeah, it kind of plays definitely to where I'm going with like what I'm going to be studying as far as X-Phys. And I've talked to my first semester as a graduate student, I took advanced study in exercise physiology with Dr. Coburn. And I've asked him to be my chair for my thesis and to be my advisor. And he agreed, so him and I are going to be working together throughout my graduate program in exercise physiology. So I'm really looking forward to it. So
nice. When you mentioned Kines 354 with Danica France,
yeah.
So that was the first time I saw you back since
the first class.
Since the first time, that we met.
Yeah.
And so I seen you in that class. I'm like, wow, this guy's still here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But throughout that semester, I'm over here hearing you answer questions from the back of the classroom, giving examples, giving all these like real life experiences with your job, with what you're currently doing, coaching. I'm like, wow, this guy's smart.
Oh,
man. This guy has it going on. And that's when I thought, you know what, like, if anything, you could probably be the assistant to the professor. Or, that's when I thought, wow, this guy has it going on.
Well, I appreciate that. I try to have it going on. I try to be good at what I do. I don't want to suck at it. If I'm honest, I am good at what I do, and I do know a lot, but only because I try very hard, and it's important to me to know. But no, I just work really hard. I try really hard to do, and to I want to be effective, whether I'm at work at my other job, whether I'm consulting with someone about diet or exercise or nutrition, or if somebody is so inclined to want to know why a supplement works or the rationale of why you take this like physiologically, or even now when I'm teaching my anatomy classes, things like that, like I want to be good, so I try very, very hard. And as good as I am, and as much as I work hard and I've seen success, I owe a lot of that to just the circumstance that I have. I have very good family, I have very good friends, I have very good instructors, and I've had a lot of grace shown to me with people helping me out. And it does help that I'm a little bit older, so I've been doing this a long time. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, it does help because when I was younger, the longer you live, the more adult experience you have, the more confident you become. So I'm confident that, throughout my coaching experience and my teaching experience, like in California and then again in North Dakota and then back here, I try hard to know. And then honestly, like when you say things like you knew I was a smart guy, this and that, like honestly, that it means a lot because like I don't want people thinking like, oh, Rob's an idiot, hearing me say something like that. Yeah. But no, it means a lot because like you're not. It's not like you're dumb, or it's not like you're not a good good guy or anything like that. Like your stuff, man. So like when you're like, yeah, you're good at that. It's like thank you. Like it means a lot. It's more because I know you're one of us. You're like a total kines guy. So I can talk to like a geography major and they have no idea what the hell the body is. So they're not going to know if I know what I'm doing or not. But knowing that you're in this program, you're here too, man. That's not a small deal. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, yeah. if you weren't confident enough, I mean, look, just looking at your beard, man. I mean, that speaks confidence to the max.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. The reason, the beard, a very pretty
woman.
woman
Let's talk
told
about
me.
that. Yeah.
The very pretty woman. This was what, a couple summers ago, I think. And the Yankees were playing the Angels at Angel Stadium. And I was growing my beard out. And
you're a Yankees fan, right?
I am a Yankee fan. And they were getting beat rather bad the first two games of the series. And my best friend was giving me a bunch of crap about it. And I was growing my beard out. And in a fit of rage, I started to shave. And then this kind of happened. So I just kind of grew it out the rest of the summer. And show up for the first day of fall semester. And this very rather attractive student that I know, that was a friend of mine from another class, came and gave me a big ol' hug and, oh, Rob, you look so good. And that moment, that's when it stayed.
Nice.
Yeah. When a very attractive woman gives you a compliment and says, I like your look, you kind of listen to that, you know? So
okay.
It felt good. Another one of those things
it
was a good compliment for me to get. I'm very appreciative of that. So
yeah, it's a new look, dude, but I like it too. It's cool.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's just a thing. I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on and talk about the graduate program now.
Yeah, anything.
So a lot of students probably listening in are probably, contemplating whether, I don't know, maybe some of your students too in your classroom, they're probably looking into physical therapy, medical school, nursing.
Yeah.
But a lot of students who are in the kines track doing strength and conditioning,
Yeah.
they're probably always looking into doing the graduate program here.
Yeah.
So what are some recommendations you would give for them if they're sophomores, juniors, already considering the master's program?
Some very good advice that was given to me by Dr. Kersey. Consider all your options. And now I am very biased. I am a Fullerton guy. I really am. This is the right place for me, but it was the advice that Dr. K gave me that led me to know that this was the place for me, not just think it. Because I always thought this would be the place for me, but I went and I talked to him about graduate programs when I was starting to shop around. And he told me basically, look, gist was, Rob, it doesn't matter where you get into it. He's like, I know you got the grades. He's like, you're going to get into a program. He told me it does not matter where you get into the program because it's not like you have bad choices to make. Whether you get into Fullerton or Michigan State or New Mexico or San Diego State or wherever it is that you want to apply, you just got into a graduate program. Like, there's no bad choice. There's really no bad choices. So look at all the different options you have. If you want to do exercise physiology, find the ones that have specific phys programs. If you're a strength and conditioning guy, make sure you look at the ones that have the specific strength and conditioning programs. Call these places. See if they have brochures or information. Look at their websites. Apply to every place you want to get in. It costs a lot of money and things like that. If you have a legit shot to get in, and that's a place that you can see yourself happy, apply. I mean, the worst thing that happens is they say no. My other A school basically gave me the thanks but no thanks letter. And look what happened to me. Like, Michigan State was like, oh, Rob, we don't want you. And Cal State Fullerton was like, yeah, come on aboard. And now here I am. I mean, it was the greatest thing. I kept that letter, the thanks but no thanks letter.
Right.
Why not? I mean,
yeah.
I'm going to frame that right next to my master's degree from Cal State Fullerton one day because guess what? Their loss was Cal State Fullerton. No, let me say it this way. Michigan State's loss was Rob Salatto's gain because Cal State Fullerton's program has been extremely good to me, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, another good thing, talk to the professors you're closer to. So if you're a phys guy, talk to Dr. Beam, Dr. Coburn, talk to Dr. Galpin. If you're a strength and conditioning guy, talk to Galpin or Coburn or Dr. Brown. If you're a sports psych person, talk to Dr. Statler or Dr. Wiersma. These people are great, and they're not going to steer you wrong. They're gonna help you find a program that's good for you. Kathy Webster, I know she's not the undergraduate advisor anymore, but she was really good to me. And her and I, we had gotten to know each other pretty well just because she remembered me from 2004. Wow. Believe it or not, yeah. And honestly, she did. Yeah, I was blown away. I had no idea that she would. And then again, she remembered me from 2006 and 2007. So we had known each other for a long time, and she was really honest with me and just really generous with her time and just helping me find, the right undergraduate path for me and the right graduate path. But talk to the people in the program, and, they'll steer you right in the right direction. And also, I would say this. Graduate school is no joke. So make sure that you are, wherever you go, make sure you're serious about it, because it's a lot of time and it's a lot of money and it's a lot of energy. So just make sure that you're serious about where you want to go, and make sure you work hard as an undergrad, because it's not easy to get in. It really isn't. So take your education seriously, I guess, would be step one. So, but yeah, if you're considering Fullerton, I am totally biased. Go here.
Yeah. And
apply here.
I think we were pretty fortunate to have Dr. Beam as a professor too, because now he's the department chair, right?
Yep.
So now I don't know if he's going to go back into teaching anytime soon, but you and I mean, that kind of shows how long we've been here, right? I mean, we used to take him.
Yeah.
We had him for a
I believe
class.
I'm in my, this is my 4th straight year.
Okay.
As a student here at Cal State Fullerton, so 3 as an undergrad. I did not want to rush when I came back. I technically might have been able to finish in like 3 semesters if I was taking like ridiculous workloads. 12 units. That's all I took. It was a no particular rush, and I didn't want to overload myself. So.
Okay.
But no, I agreed. Having Dr. Beam, I tell you what, it taught me how to work hard. That guy's class was hard.
Mm-hmm.
That was no joke. Like undergrad, Ex-Phys 348 it was
Right.
with Dr. Beam. That class was tough. But I learned a lot, and I wouldn't change it. So.
No, and his style
Yeah.
of teaching too. I mean, teaching a class that difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, some of his metaphors still stick. I don't know if you remember like the Star Wars metaphors about.
What does he talk about? He did the little 2 thing for the second law of thermodynamics about heat. Was energy is neither lost or created. I don't know, whatever it might be. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But he'd always do the 2 thing.
Mhm.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Such a funny guy, man.
Yeah.
I don't even think he knows it, but he's a funny guy.
Yeah. No, Beam is good. We talk all the time because I'm a Michigan State fan and he went to Ohio State.
Yeah.
So we always give each other crap about that.
Nice, and I think he
Yeah.
played football too for like a game or something.
Did he?
I think so. I give
No
him a
way.
hard time, dude. I don't see him as a football player, but
That's great.
That's Dr. Beam, yeah.
Dr. Beam, that's great. Yeah, I always give him crap for being an Ohio State guy. So
Yeah, that's funny, man.
yeah.
Cool. So like now you're teaching a class too.
Yeah.
Obviously you like it. You're enjoying it. You're having a good time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I teach Anatomy 191A lab.
Okay, because there's
And
2 components to that, right? 191A.
There's 1A and 1B, and you take the B lab through the biology department.
Okay.
Yeah, but I teach the kines version. I teach the anatomy. It's a gross anatomy class, so we deal with muscle origin and insertions. We deal with bones and landmarks, actions, things like that. So we also deal with throughout the course of the semester. We have things called power labs, where we'll look at the most basic of EKG, blood pressure, reflex. The reflex lab is something I like to teach because we learn in grad Ex-Phys, you learn about the Hoffman reflex and then like muscle spindle and Golgi tendon organ activity. I really like that stuff. So I get to talk a little bit. I get to lecture material I just learned, which is really good. I did that last year, so I'm going to do that again this year when we do it. But yeah, those are very good labs that we do. We also do heart dissection.
Okay.
And I did that the first time a couple weeks before I taught it. The other lab instructor and we went in here and he let me walk through it and went off without a hitch, man. Like all my classes did really well. I had one table in my morning class. Their heart dissection was great. I mean, they were able to, I don't know how they did it. I asked them if they had experience. I think they got lucky, but man, they could have lied and said they had skill because they were good.
Nice.
But yeah, things like that. I mean, I never thought that I would be like leading heart dissections, and now here I am. But my labs are great, and I love the material. This semester, Jose and I, the other lab instructor, we went through our PowerPoint slides, and we updated them with radiographic anatomy. So instead of seeing like a 2-dimensional drawing of like a hand and like this is your carpals, what we have is a 3-dimensional x-ray with like a really high resolution. So you can clearly make out individual bones and certain landmarks on different bones and things, and we have them for all the different joints that we would study and stuff. So it's definitely a big addition. Like we've already had my first couple lectures, I've already gotten through some, and the students really respond well. And I think that goes a long way because you can only get so much out of seeing pictures, like artist renditions, things like that. You look at an x-ray, like that is what the inside of your body looks like. That So it looks really well, and the students respond to it. So, but it's a lot of fun. And my 2 classes I had last semester, I had 40 students last semester. I have 40 students this semester. Most of them were seniors last semester. Very smart kids. They did extremely well.
Yeah.
They were really receptive to the information. They were polite. They were respectful. It was really, really a positive experience to me. Those 2 classes really made it easy on me as a first-time kinesiology instructor. And these next 2 classes that I have this semester, I call them the Mondays and the Wednesdays because I have them on Monday and then Wednesday. And great. Again, I have 40 students as well. I believe I have 37 seniors, and then I have two sophomores and 1 freshman, or 2 freshmen and 1 sophomore, something to that effect. All so far in the 4 meetings that I've had with them, extremely nice kids, extremely polite kids. They seem to be bright and responsive to the material. They seem to want to come to class. And for like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. labs, like especially Monday morning at 9 a.m., that's a stretch. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, they're happy, they're polite, they're, I told them the very first day, I always give my like jerk lecture. I call it my, what do I call it? Like I give them my like, I'm like a prick, right? I just come in there like a hard ass. Like I just tell them straight up, like you're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And that's that's the impression that I want. My lab, the seats, the way it breaks down is this, is the Kinesiology 191A lab. The seats are limited, but they're also in very high demand. So I do not want students that are going to come in and trying to get a C-. If you want to get a C-, we could fill 6 sections of this lab every semester with, 24 students. We could pack this lab. We get extra chairs in here because people want this. Like there's nursing majors that need to have this.
Right.
There's kinesiologists and things like that want to go to PT or, occupational therapy or physician assistant that need this lab. There's people that need a seat. So I don't want someone in my lab that's going to, try to get a C-. First of all, it doesn't pass in kinesiology. Mm-hmm. And second of all, you're wasting my spot.
Yeah.
Like I want people in my lab that want to engage, that want to learn, that need the lab. And I tell them that. And I make no bones about it. If you don't want to learn, there is the door. Mm-hmm. And they all get big-eyed and things like that. And honestly, I don't care the first day. Like I want them to leave. I want kids that want to sit and learn. And anatomy is, I'm a nerd about anatomy, I love it, but it's not necessarily the world's most exciting topic. But if you engage in the material and you come ready and you're willing to help the people at your table, everybody is gonna, and people in your group, everybody is gonna pass and everybody's gonna enjoy that material. So far, so good. They really seem to be receptive of that. Yeah, I give my fire and brimstone lecture the first day, and if the kids make it through it, I know they're somewhat ready to learn, and then they've all responded really well. So they make me look good. My students last semester made me look amazing. Nice. And they really did. Like they made me look like number 1 best ever. They were smart kids. And this semester I expect the same thing. And so far they've demonstrated at least the potential to be there. So
that's great, man.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm already thinking like, it's his first year. He's probably, having a hard time trying to, be the nice guy, the bad guy.
No. First, for me, there's only one guy. Like I don't care what I'm doing. There's only one guy. I'm half the people that know me think I'm great, and half the people think I'm a big a-hole, and that's fine with me. Whatever. I'm one guy. I'm only going to be one person. I'm only going to be one way.
Yeah.
And as far as having difficulty with the job, I'm never nervous. I was maybe nervous the very first class I taught, but honestly, I was more excited. Like I didn't fear the class. I was just pumped up. You get that anticipatory rise. You feel your heart rate going, and this is like a way I don't get to play football anymore. I don't get to play sports anymore. So this is like the way this is like my field. I don't want to go in and like I don't want to get blown out by the other team. Like I want to go in and like I want to put 50 points on the board. Like I want to be like that 50-point instructor. So, but yeah, I was never nervous. I was never worried about it. I never doubted myself that I'd be good at this. I don't, not in a cocky way, but I'm a good instructor. I'm a good instructor. I try hard. I want to be, so therefore I put the work in to be a good instructor. Mm-hmm. But also because I know how important it is. Like I want those kids to learn, and I don't want them not to learn because it's my fault. So I'm going to show up ready to go every day. I'm going to show up. I'm going to know my business. I'm going to know my students. I'm going to do my best to get to each one of them in individual ways. And having been a coach and an instructor in other situations, not every kid learns the same way. Not every person learns the same way. So when I see one of my students and they respond well to like hands-on instruction. When I get to their group, like I'll make them put their hands on the bone models and things like that. I'll make them instruct me. I'll give them. I try to facilitate however each individual student needs to learn. And it's only because I have taught and coached and things in the past, and I do a lot of work individually with people. So when you've been instructing in one way, shape, or form, you'll learn how to teach to the individual student. So I've had a lot of experience with that. So yeah, I never once worried about being able to do it. It was just a matter of doing it. And once I got in there, once I got that first day over with, once I got myself nice and calm, it's kind of like that first series of a football game. You're out there, you just kind of amped up, and then you get that first big hit in, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's such a good thing for me to be able to do. So I'm very, very grateful to Dr. Beam and to Dr. Barr and to Jose and the other anatomy people for allowing me to do it with him. It's It really is a cool thing. So.
Yeah, and they all approve of the beard, right?
They don't really have a choice. But
Yeah.
yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so you've been a student, and now you're still a student,
Yeah.
right? But you're also an instructor.
Yeah.
So let's look at it from an instructor's point of view. I mean, what sort of recommendations, particularly for your class, your students, would you give for them to be successful? Because this class, even though it's like a 100 level class, it's not a 100 level class.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Like anatomy, if you take Dr. Barr's lecture and you take my lab, this is not a 100 level class. This is pretty good. Like my lab is not necessarily difficult with the type of material, but you are held responsible for a lot. I give 4 tests. There are a lot of questions. I think there's 83 questions on my first lecture or my first exam. And it is a spelling test. Anatomy is a spelling test. So even if you know the part or you know the landmark or the bone or the muscle or whatever, if you spell it wrong, it counts. So generally what I would tell people, if you want to be successful in this lab, but more particularly in my lab, you can't half-ass me. Like you must study outside this classroom. Well, let me say, the first thing you need to do is show up for my lectures, because I can all but guarantee that everything I say is going to be on the test. So if I will straight tell my students, this is going to be on your exam. Write it down, know it, memorize it, be able to use it. I'm testing you on this fact right here. If you don't come to class, you're not going to hear that.
Yeah, I like when professors say that.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm giving answers away,
Right.
but I'm telling you, like, this is a super important part of anatomy.
Yeah.
If you don't understand where your humerus is, you're going to fail my practical. Like, you got to know that. So, but yeah, just show up to class. As far as heading into this classroom without being in the class already, know that you want to be successful as a student in general. If you are in school because you have nothing else to do, because you want to take up space, because you want to stand around and observe, I don't think that kinesiology is the place for you. There are a lot of people that are serious about their education trying to do this. So if you want to be successful in my lab, the first thing you need to do is be serious about your education. It's not a joke. It is expensive. Even though Cal State's system, our state schools are very affordable, it's still expensive. It's in demand, so the spots are sought after. People want to be here. So if you're going to take up space and not really want to be here, go somewhere else. Like, don't be around. Don't take a spot where somebody wants because you can. Be serious about life. Like I had the first 4 years I was in college, I had a lot of fun. I don't think I was the most serious student, but I still had a pretty high GPA. Like, I couldn't tell you one thing I learned, but I did well in class. But I was a football player. I wish I would have had a little bit more. I wish I could have focused a little bit more on school and a little less on fun. And I would never tell anybody not to enjoy their life or not to enjoy their college experience, because we are only young one time and we should do things that benefit our life both inside and outside of the classroom. But when you're in the classroom, be serious about the classroom. It is very hard to be a 32-year-old graduate student when all of my friends are married with kids and in careers and things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of them have master's degrees. And I had to walk the path that I had to walk, and I would never change that. But I'm not going to say that when I had the time, I didn't necessarily use it the best way. So have your fun, do whatever it is that you got to do as a young student and things like that. But when you are in the classroom, be in the classroom. And you will have your whole life to party and to I don't know, just blow off homework and go to the concerts and I don't know, whatever it is young kids are doing these days. Not that I'm that old, but whatever it is people want to do. When it's time for school, be there, be present in school. Don't waste your time. It's too much time, it's too much money. Don't take the opportunity away from somebody who doesn't want it. So if you show up to my lab and you are unprepared to put the work in, you simply will fail. I had some kinesiology students in the first practical that they did pretty well, but they thought they were going to be able to kind of half-ass it, and they showed up and they ended up getting like low B's on their tests. And I warned them. I told them, look, you're not going to be able to pass. It's complicated stuff. It's a lot of material. And after that, they took me serious, and then they like the A's the rest of the semester. Well, you should have listened the first time. Be ready to go. Be serious about your education. Invest your time in it. When you're in class, be in class. You have your whole life ahead of you. Don't start it when you're 28 years old. Start it when you're like 18, 19, 20. Be farther ahead in life than I was when I was an undergrad here at 28 years old. and it's not like I would change me, like what I would do, but it's good advice to tell somebody. Like, you don't want to be a 28-year-old undergraduate if you don't have to be. You know, I would like to be in a career, making career money right now. I'm now headed in that direction, and I had a very good reason for being where I was, but it would be nice to be sleeping on a big old pile of career money right now instead of being a graduate student, because that's what all my friends do. So, you know, be present in school and take it seriously.
Yeah.
So when you're my age, you don't have to be me in class anymore. You can be where you want to be. And I guess that's as real an answer as I can give. So.
Oh yeah, that's a lot, man. But it's all. I think a lot of it can apply to any class of any major of any program. Really.
Oh yeah, any college student.
But like you said, our program is very competitive. It's I don't know if it's impacted, but you would assume that, you know,
of course,
there's a lot of students here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we've covered a lot, man, and I feel like your experiences coaching and you know, coming to school, leaving school, coming back, a lot of it's kind of like help you shape the person you are, the professor that you're going to be.
Yeah, I hope so. And had I not gone through the first couple of years in school, like playing ball and not being so serious about it, and had I not, you know, gone into like the workforce and not had, you know, coached and things like that. When I got my job coaching, there were coaches that have been coaching for 20 years that wanted that job, and I got it the year after I was a player because, you know, like, yeah, was good fortune, you know. That was serious business, you know. I took it serious then, and like being outside of school and living the adult life without that safety net of campus to fall back on, and then being out on my own and not living with mom and dad anymore and just kind of making it on my own. And you learn that, hey, there's no safety net. And then after, you know, when my brother was sick, it was long, hard work. It was really hard to take care of him. He needed a lot. And as good as he was throughout his sickness, like towards the end of it, it was extremely difficult. So, you know, I worked full-time. I commuted full-time from La Mirada to Riverside. I took care of my brother full-time. And when you've done something like that was not, you know, like grad stats was a hard class. It was not take care of my brother hard. That was incredibly difficult. And to be able to come through something like that and to excel at it, I was great. I took a lot of pride, and that was my life, to take care of him. When you've had responsibility like that, you know, it shapes who you are, and it gives you confidence to know what you can do. So as I head into the future, like, I want to be the best graduate student I can be. And if that means that I get an A in Ex-Phys my first semester, and then also in my first semester I got a B in grad stats, which I did, I'm proud of that B. That was hard work, and I owe my success to my group that we worked with, and I put in a lot of hours, and honestly I earned that. But that's like true earning right there. I really feel like that is the grade I earned, and I'm proud of it. As I move forward, I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy for the rest of my education as a master's student. If I get into a Ph.D. program, I want to be that guy in a Ph.D. program. I want to earn what I earn. I want to learn as much as I can. When I leave these programs, when I get my master's degree in 3 or 4 more semesters, and eventually maybe if I get into a Ph.D. program and get my Ph.D., I want to come out and I want to have gained more life experience, and I want to have more ability to control the material. I don't want an A because that's the highest grade. I want an A because I can manipulate the material, and I can own it, and I can relate it, and I can teach it. And it's through exercise physiology and anatomy and strength and conditioning that I'm going to best be able to help people in life live better lives, better educate themselves, help them get farther in life. That's ultimately what if you're going to go into a teaching profession, if you're going to be in any public service profession, like, you want to help people live better life. You want to do right by people. I could not possibly think like that 10 years ago. I wasn't that guy. So all these life experiences that I've had, you know, you got to give back. And I have a lot of grace from the Lord and from my friends, and people were really good to me. And professors were really good to me when I got in school. Like, I want to give back to the people that have given to me. And this is the method that I can do it. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I couldn't be that person without all that struggle, and without all this hardship, and without meeting all the people that I did on this campus, and without getting turned down by Michigan State, and without struggling and staying up 15 hours to do my stats project, you know, like last semester, you know, without earning that B and being proud of it. I've never been more proud of a grade in my whole life. I'm not a computer person or a math person, and that's math on computers, and I got a B+. Thank God. Like, I want to earn, and I want to be grateful, and I want to show that, and I want to give back as much as I can. So you're damn right. The path was the reason that I am who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully through this episode, this podcast, that we're able to showcase, all that you have to give, and hopefully people who are listening in, they can relate to you, understand where you're coming from, and
Oh yeah, I mean, I could sing you like a 10-hour tale of all the woes and hardships, but honestly, like I've talked to people like around the program and in other programs, and I have people like customers and clients that'll come to see me at work and things like that, and you just want to be able to whatever you can to help people be positive, and sometimes people go through so much. Like I've had a blessed life. I would never change anything. And honestly, I've been very fortunate to not have it worse. And some people, like, if someone can hear me say, like, I've been through some stuff and I made it, like, people go through much worse than I ever have. It's just, you got to try to encourage people. Look, life can be shitty. It really can. Like, just try to look at things positively. Sometimes you got to take a deep breath, but keep moving forward. Everything you want can be done. So if anybody hears this and they're struggling, they got a lot of things going on and this and that, look, I've been through a lot and I made it. And I know people that have been through way more and they made it. And furthermore, they were more successful than I was and they've gone farther than I was and they're smarter than I ever hoped to be. And if they can make it, what one man can do, another can do. What one woman can do, another can do. So there's light out there. There's hope. Don't stop. Dr. Coburn, I asked him about this when I went to see him over the summer between my undergraduate and my graduate program, so right after graduation. I was telling him, it took me 14 years to get my bachelor's degree. My first semester in college my first class I ever took it was like a 1-unit thing at Fullerton for the athletes, and it taught you how to register and what classes to take and how to get on the right academic plan. But I believe it was in July of 2000, and I graduated in May of 2014 with my bachelor's degree. It took me 14 years to get my bachelor's degree. Look, that was a great day in my life.
Yeah, like, I saw the pictures. You were happy. Yeah.
It was hard, bro. Like, it was hard. It was a lot of work to get to that point. And I knew I could do it, but it was at the same time, it was just like, damn, man, like, can I really do this? And then all of a sudden, like, I'm walking across, and Dr. Beam saying my name, and I'm shaking hands with Dr. Coburn, and now I got, like, I got a bachelor's degree, and I'm going to be, like, going to graduate school. It's nuts. It's nuts to think about. And I told Dr. Coburn, it's like I took 14 years to get to this point. And, I explained to him, I said, I don't even know if you remember this, Dr. Coburn, but in 2006 or 2007, I had to stop going to school again. And I told him, I said, you told me some advice. You said, I believe he said to me something to the effect of that he went back to school when he was 35 years old. And he's like, Rob, go handle your business. He's like, do what you got to do. He's like, the school's going to be here. He's like, it's never too late. He's like, the school was here before you. It's probably going to be here after you. And I always remember, I never one time forgot that. And I only had him for like 2 or 3 weeks when I had to stop taking his class. And I never forgot that. And I told him that, and he just kind of laughed and smiled. And it wasn't, that was like one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got, because I always held on to that. Like I knew I was going to come and get my bachelor's degree and finish and things like that. I knew that was going to happen for me. And I promised a good friend of mine, he did some favors for me. He helped me out a lot. He helped me get my job coaching. He told me that he would help me with my job. Actually, it was Gene Murphy. He was the head coach at Fullerton Junior College, and he was the last head football coach Cal State Fullerton had. And he told me when he gave me my job, he's like, I'll give you this job, but you have to promise me that you finish your bachelor's degree. And I was able to keep that promise this past semester. It kind of made me mad because Murph died in 2011. So I wasn't able to actually tell him, to go show him, hey, look, man, I kept my promise, because I promised you I was going to make it, and I did. But I was able to go back because I promised Murph I would do it, so I did. And then I always remember Dr. Coburn encouraging me. And that's kind of one of the things that drew me back here, too. Because, like, everyone I encountered on this program was really nice. It was really positive and wanted to help and wanted to, like, assist in the learning. But, yeah, Coburn told me long ago, he's like, the school is always going to be here. He's like, handle your business. I handled my business, and I walked through the fire, man. It was hard. And I came back, and I really buckled down, and I worked really hard. And I was very fortunate to meet good people that helped me along the way with great professors, and I made it, and now here I am. I'm on phase 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're listening to this and you're discouraged or it's hard, take a deep breath, step back, and you're gonna be fine. And all things, man, in seasons. Sometimes it's your time to hurt, sometimes it's your time to struggle, and sometimes it's your time to have success. So I went back to school when I was 28 years old, and here I am, I'm 32. I'm now teaching at a university. I have a bachelor's degree from one of the best programs in the country. It's legit to say that I'm considering Ph.D. programs. Like, it's not a stretch to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could really do that. Like, I've put myself in a position to at least talk about it. Who knows what the future holds, but 5 years ago, there's no way I could have said, oh, Rob Salatto in Ph.D. program, illegitimately in the same sentence. Never happened.
Right.
But now I can. And that's something. That's coming from where I went through and things like that's really something. So, yeah, it's possible to do. And I would highly encourage everybody, dedicate yourself to whatever it is you do. Let's say you're in school right now and you're listening to this and you're like, you know what, this isn't for me. I need to go be something else. Be that. School's not for everybody. You don't have to be here to listen to the same thing. Make your life what it is. Make your life what it needs to be. It's never too late to improve your situation. Don't give up hope. It might look really hard right now, but honestly, it's going to get better. It really is. So just make sure that whatever you're about to do, whether you got to go and get a job or a career you want, or school is the way to go, don't be afraid to go after it, but work hard at it and take your time, and things are going to work out for you, but don't be discouraged at all. So
yeah, this is a very motivational, inspirational segment that we had here, man. I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of stuff that applies to a lot of people. So I mean, I wanna thank you for all this great content that you just blew me with. I'm gonna go home tonight, do my homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about I'm gonna go home and not do my homework.
Yeah.
No, I'll get it done eventually.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad that you. Glad you give me the opportunity to say that, because I think that's something that's really important. I think sometimes being an older student, not that I'm old, but being an older student, you get that perspective, that, I know what it's like to be outside looking in, not in a program anymore. And I'd like to tell as many students, I tell all my students all the time, I'm a firm believer that education is a beneficial thing, and that the UC system or the Cal State system, any state school that we have in California, it's affordable, it's expensive, but it's affordable, it's a great option. And it's something it's a tool that can take people as far as they want to go with it. So I always tell my students, look, be here, be ready to go. And the fact that you let me say this to a podcast where more than people that I can influence, it's just, people told me really good things, and it always helped me. So I'm just trying to relate some really good things that, I've learned from my life experience and that have been related to me. So, and like I said, Dr. Kersey and Dr. Nofal and Dr. Beam, Dr. Llewellyn, Dr. Barr, the list goes on and on, Dr. Coburn.
They're all great, man.
Yeah, I mean, they have all said things to me that were like life changers. They're just, they tell you honestly, hey man, you can do it. You can be successful. You can, if you want to be, you can enter a master's program. You can get an A in my class. Don't be afraid to hurt. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to put those long hours in, because it's all gonna be worth it. Dr. Wiersma, in his 202 class, my first semester back here, he told us all, he just hit it straight. He's like, you know what, guys, you're going to go through a lot of BS. And, there's some things that I don't agree with about education. It's too much money and this and that. He's like, but I promise you this, if you stick with it, it's all going to be worth it. And some people might not agree with that, but I can say in all honesty, when he said that to me, I was in such a different place than I am right now, but I kind of bought into it. And I just was open to maybe that being proved true to me. And every class that I took, and every professor that I met, and every person that I encountered in this program has only made that come true. And of all the hardships that it was, commuting, and I used to get up at 3 a.m. to drive in to miss traffic from Riverside because I started school so early. And every sacrifice was worth it. It's absolutely worth it if you put the time in. You're going to get out of it more than you ever thought. So that's the real truth right there. So.
Oh wow, dude, that's a lot, man. I didn't even know all this stuff about you. All I knew is that you're just teaching a class,
I'm just a regular
having a good time.
Man. I'm nothing special.
No, you got a lot going on, man. I appreciate your time sharing all this information with us, dude. I mean, you and I will keep in contact much more.
Absolutely.
But I want to thank you one more time for your time.
No, my pleasure, buddy. Thank you for having me. It's an honor for me. It really is. I appreciate this. So.
Yeah, hopefully a few years from now we're gonna be listening to this while you're doing your
Right?
doctorate program, man.
Hell yeah.
That'll be pretty sweet.
Like Rob Salatto, Ph.D.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to sign off here. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time.
Much.